Good morning, everyone. Welcome to First Things First. I'm Jenna Wolf alongside Nick Wright, Kevin Wilds, Chris Broussard with us on a Tuesday morning. Great show for you today. Do the Bucks need to win a title in order to keep their superstar Giannis? We'll toss that around. Aaron Rodgers ranked out of the NFL's top 50. We'll tell you why. And Julian Edelman, is he just a product of Tom Brady? We will discuss all of that, but we will start this morning with the return of the NBA, now less than 8 weeks away. Barely enough time to focus on what's on the line for some of the big-name stars on some of the big-name organizations. Don't feel bad for us. We're going to fit it all in. And by we, obviously, I mean Nick. Nick made a list of the top 10 players who have the most to gain from an NBA Finals win. So here we go, Nick. We're going to start at the bottom. Now we're here. 10 through 8. You got Chris Middleton, Pascal Siakam, and your guy, LeBron James. Take us through 10 through 8 here, Nick.
All right, so I think some people will be surprised to see LeBron that low. I'll explain that in a moment. For Middleton, if the Bucks win the title, it means Giannis stays and Chris Middleton can potentially go on a little Scottie Pippen 2.0 path where you're a star but not a superstar, but you get the pay of a star. I guess Scottie didn't get that. And you get without all the expectations. Pascal Siakam, if the Raptors win the title, he catapults himself into a top 10 current player and is the best player on a championship team. And by the way, they are the 2 seed in the East. And then there's LeBron. Broussard, I know you're going to say LeBron should be way higher, but if you're already the GOAT, how much does one more accolade mean? When Wayne Gretzky had 8 Hart trophies, the 9th didn't mean that much. He was already clearly the best to have ever done it over Gordie Howe. So LeBron, it would be the first player to be Finals MVP for 3 different teams. He would bring glory back to Los Angeles after an incredibly difficult year for that city, that franchise, and for the NBA. But I think there are 7 people, Broussard, that have more to gain by winning a title this year than LeBron.
You are so wrong. You got LeBron way too low, Nick. All right. First of all, you're the only guy that thinks he's the GOAT. All right, especially after the last dance.
Well, I'm not the only guy.
He needs to strengthen his argument. And a 4th ring, a 10th trip to the finals, definitely strengthens his argument. As you said, he becomes the first guy to ever lead 3 teams to a championship. But also, he avoids that distinction, that negative distinction, of also being the only Laker of his stature never to win a championship with the franchise. Elgin Baylor, but he's not quite LeBron's stature. But all the other greats on LeBron's air won titles with the Lakers. So that's the thing. And here's the thing you're really missing, Nick. This is the biggest. He's in his 17th year. He's 35 years old. He'll be 36 when the season basically starts next year. We don't know. I would agree. I think LeBron will be like a top 5 player next year, but we don't know that. At that age, you fall off quickly. So maybe it's next year, maybe it's 2 years or 3 years from now, but it's uncertain. Kawhi, who you have, we'll see him on the list later, he has more chances down the road to win championship. This could very well be LeBron's last best chance to win a title. So that's what you're missing.
Nick, the worst thing I have to say on this show, Broussard, is to Nick's defense. I'd rather never say that at all. But to Nick's defense, he's not the only one who thinks LeBron's the GOAT after the last dance. They did another poll, and Nick single-handedly took credit for about 26% of basketball fans thinking LeBron is the GOAT. Correct. So to Nick's defense, you're kind of right there, Nick. I think Siakam is fascinating. He would catapult up crazy, Nick. They're playing. They've got a higher win percentage this year than they did last year, but still no one's talking about them. I also think LeBron's got to get to 5 championships, Nick. I know you don't want a ring count, but if he got this one and got another one, then I think that 26% could go up to 40 or maybe even 49%.
Well, I'll be very quick here. First of all, I did leave one thing out, that if the Lakers do win the title, I assume we will get a Last Dance 2. We'll get another 10 hours of Jordan stuff because he's not going to have it. But also, we could have just replayed Broussard's take from a year ago after when LeBron was coming back from his groin injury. Could be tough for the Lakers. LeBron, 34 years old, year 16. Don't know how many years are left for him. Like, people can continue doubting the older LeBron as he continues to do things no one's ever done at his age in the league, but we'll see. But Jenna, what do we have next?
It's true. Just like everyone doubted the older Tom Brady, and as he got older, he actually kept winning. All right, Nick, 5 through 7. Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid, and Russell Westbrook. Why these three?
All right, so Russ, this would be the final piece on his resume. He's won an MVP. He's averaged a triple-double multiple times. He's won a scoring title. He's won an assist title. If the Rockets win the title, he's a top 25 all-time player. Joel Embiid, it would be very interesting for him. It would be finally realizing his full potential. And one could argue, does Joel Embiid become, if they win the title, the third best international player we've seen? Akeem, Dirk, Embiid. Akeem and Dirk have been the only guys that are international players to lead their teams, be the best player on a team for a championship team. And then for Anthony Davis, Broussard, it would validate all of the stuff that happened last year. He would follow in the great line of Laker big men from Mike into Wilt to Kareem to Shaq. And it would essentially, to me, guarantee that he's a Laker for life. So for me, those are the guys 5, 6, 7 that have the most to gain.
I think Westbrook needs to be higher because, look, if you look over the last few months, Nick, Westbrook's numbers are tremendous. They're right there with Harden's. And if the Rockets were to win the championship, they really don't have any shot. But if they were to win it, and it's very plausible, Westbrook could be the finals MVP. I'm not saying I would probably favor Harden to get it, but Westbrook could very well lead them to that. And then you're looking at a guy with 3 straight seasons of triple doubles and then a championship. Oh, because he could end up leading the team rather than Harden. So I think Westbrook should be higher on this list.
Yeah, I agree with you. It'd be the sort of the Rockets double whammy. I think right now Harden and Westbrook are those guys that are in that weird space of MVPs but not champions. And you see, like when Garnett got his championship with the Celtics, all of a sudden he went way up and he wasn't in that Steve Nash, Barkley never was an MVP but never won a championship, Nick.
So the idea that if the Rockets win, it could be via Westbrook being the best player is an interesting one that to be totally candid, I hadn't fully thought about. I assumed it would be playing a great Robin role, almost an overqualified Robin role. If they were to win, they were to win the title and he were to be Finals MVP, yeah, then maybe he would jump a few spots on this list. I was looking at it more as him being the best supporting actor in the finals. But Jenna, what do we got next?
All right, let's move on. Revealing numbers 4 through 2 on your list of players with the most to gain from winning a championship. Now, this one surprised me. Jason Tatum, Kawhi Leonard, and Giannis. Tatum, Nick, that one really stood out. Take us through this part of your list.
Well, yeah, I mean, if the Celtics win the title, it's going to be because Tatum elevates his game to a couple levels or 3 levels to a place we haven't seen him play consistently yet at any point in his career. And that's no shade on Tatum. He's still a very young player. He's still on his rookie contract. But if the Celtics win the title, he becomes a Celtic legend. Celtic fans like Wilds get to clown me about my Tatum tears forever. He gets the Supermax contract he's going to get either way this offseason. But now after Tatum, you talk about the guys with a real chance at it and the guys with the most to gain. For Kawhi, if they win the title, he does get to not carry the interim best player alive belt. He gets to call himself best player alive. And folks like me can criticize how he handles the regular season, but given the fact that he has had 2 separate, one was shortened due to injury, magnificent playoff runs. I'm not talking about the finals MVP that he didn't deserve 6 years ago. I'm talking about the year that Zaza hurt him, and then also last year. If he follows that up with another unbelievable playoff run and finals performance, you start talking about him as one of the greatest playoff performers ever. And then there's Giannis. Giannis, if they win the title, not only is he the unanimous best player in the world after winning 2 straight MVPs and winning a championship, he also would have won a title earlier than LeBron, earlier than Michael, earlier than Steph, earlier than KD. And you start to want, and he'll stay in Milwaukee forever on a $250 million deal. So those, to me, there's only one player in the league with more to gain than those guys, Broussard, from a title this year.
I am shocked. I think there's two glaring omissions on your list, or that aren't on your list, Nick. Luka Doncic and Jimmy Butler. Luka's got probably more to gain than even Jason Tatum. Remember earlier in the year, we were debating who's the best 21-year-old ever. Is it LeBron? Is it Luka? If Luka were to lead Dallas to the championship, it's Luka hands down. He catapults himself, as you mentioned about Kawhi, into already is he the best player in the world if they were to win it. Maybe you left him off because it's unrealistic, but it's no more unrealistic than some of these other guys. And then I also think Jimmy Butler. Now, I get it. Miami's certainly not a favorite, but they are 2-0 against Milwaukee. And in Bam Adebayo, they've got a guy who kind of like Kawhi Leonard last year against Giannis, has been able to slow him down, and then the Bucks' other players can't step up and make up the difference that Giannis doesn't give them. So I'm just saying Miami is at least in the hunt for the Eastern Conference Championship. And if they were somehow to win it, then Jimmy Butler moves up. I think both of those guys are definitely ahead of Chris Middleton in terms of things to gain.
Nick, I think I know the answer because we went over it in the meeting, so I'll let you take it. But I'll pile on and say, like, why isn't Ben Simmons on this list?
Well, Ben Simmons isn't on the list because I think everyone on the list has more to gain than Simmons.